Good evening, welcome to Daytona International Speedway, welcome to Apex Racing TV, and another instalment of the BSR MX5 Monday Cup. Charles Draycott with you here with Marco Barbanera on the cameras tonight, and we're looking forward to, well, it's going to be quite a mixed evening of racing, to be fair. It's not usually a track combination we see quite often on the iRacing service, but it's bound to throw up some great racing with, as always, some real drafting opportunities to be taken here. As you can see, there are the conditions as it stands at the moment. 18 degrees air temperature, so it's not massively hot really. In terms of the track temperature, it's 21 at the moment. We have got overcast conditions and no wind, which is quite important. That'll be meaning these guys can get as much speed as possible down these straights. And obviously, not the fastest car in the world. That should be interesting to watch either way. Just in the middle of qualifying at the moment. And as it stands, it's Benjamin Mears on pole position so far with a 2 minutes 8.6. He's actually 4/10 faster than anyone else. Pete Newman is the next car behind him with Carl Hardy, then David Van Broek. Craig Jones and Robert Lundgren 6th as we see Mikey Key at the moment. He's in 13th position overall. Trying to get a bit of slipstream there off Steve Hefford in front of him. Now, of course, this is for the AM drivers in the overall BSR MX5 series. They now have their own sort of mini-season, let's say. Their own sort of separate event. And there are pro drivers involved from that series, however they aren't set to qualify. I believe Pete Newman might be rated as one of those pros actually. He's on the left hand side. You can see the green strips on the left hand side, which pretty much everybody should be at the moment. There are a lot of new drivers in tonight, so the guy's doing a great job of rounding up the troops. I think last week we got about 20 odd people. We have 43 cars on the grid so far for this evening, so it should be fantastic to watch. And it's not really a track that's going to struggle with housing that many cars, I suppose. Should provide for a lot of decent racing, and certainly a lot of mixed results for people, because with the reverse grids and things that we're going to see tonight, it might throw it up in ways that people don't want, and that always does risk them sort of falling further behind. So we'll see how these guys get on in qualifying, see whether Mikey Key can improve. He's coming across the line 13th at the moment. There's the line. And he doesn't beat his personal best. It's a 2:11.0. His best is a 2 minutes 10.4. So he's 6/10 down on his best. But it's easy to sort of overdo it on a lap here. There's so many different challenging corners that when you are trying to find that extra tenth, it's difficult to get it wrong, even just on the brakes here as they go into the right-handed hairpin on the infield. You can see he's just overdone it a little bit. I imagine going down to the kink is quite scary in this. The session is now over as it stands. Just waiting for the last cars to come across the line then. People will be just sort of getting onto their final laps now. It's just over 2 minutes for a lap, so with these races we shouldn't see more than really 6 or 7 laps, to be fair. As we can hear skidding and contact, someone's put it in the wall. I think it's John Roberts. His name has gone red, as you can see there on the left timing tower. That indicates when a driver has gone off the circuit with at least 50% of the car, or made contact with another car, or gone in the wall. So keep an eye out for that. There's Jordan McGlone, another driver who is new to the series tonight. But it looks like they've done a really good job of getting everybody on board here, to be fair. He's got a bit of damage to the front end of that car, but it is the number 22, which is usually my my favourite number to run in iRacing. So hopefully he'll do it some justice this evening. He's currently 18th on the grid, but out of a 43 car field, obviously the pros not qualify, of course, but it'll be interesting to see who sort of rises to the top, and whether any of these new names that we see on our screens will sort of make any good first impressions. There's a couple of cars still out on track now. Mikey Key is one of them, who we saw before. Scott Malcolm in the number 20 car tonight. Jarrett Glass, Steve Hefford. Kip Stevens is out there as well. And it's just a long lap here. You can see a couple of them coming across the line now. I believe the pro drivers will just back out of it. I think that's Steve Hefford coming across the line. They'll probably just get the... If you don't already know, on iRacing, if you get a incident point at all on a qualifying lap, then it will not count it. So if you put 2 wheels on the grass, if you get what they call a 1X, then your lap will not count. So probably the pro guys just getting their laps in and just dipping a wheel off onto the grass every now and then, just to sort of make sure that the lap doesn't count. And it looks like The last car coming around then is Jarrett Glass, 21st at the moment. You can see him on the minimap. And I believe he's coming to the pits as the car has gone into like a semi-transparent version. Yeah, he's in the pits now. And that should give us our grid. Interesting to see Daytona in overcast conditions. Doesn't happen very often, especially on iRacing as well. Mikey Key there, obviously not doing the best of laps and not to his own sort of impression there. So yeah, he's not too pleased with that. So the session's just sort of winding down now. Mikey Key is the only car out on track, so I think as soon as he brings it in the pits, I think we'll be all right. As there he goes then. He pops it into the pits. And that should mean that any second now we'll go into what is known as the race session. iRacing sort of flicks between these little sessions. And yeah, we should have a grid any second, and there it is. Benjamin Mears on pole position then, 4/10 quicker than Pete Newman. Carl Hardy lines up third for Result Clothing. David Van Broek, I've seen that name before somewhere. I'm not quite sure, though. He's fourth on the grid with Craig Jones and Rob Lundgren fifth and sixth. Zachary Rubin and Carl Jacquelet make up the fourth row. Richard Mason is ninth with David Ayres in 10th. Tyler Lugo Vickery is going to be hoping for a bit more luck this week. He had a win last time out at Monza, but the rest of his evening didn't go too well, so best of luck to Tyler. John Roberts lines up in 12th place. Then it's Mikey Key, we just saw, with his teammate Mick Barry on the 7th row of the grid, with Richard Haynes and Joe McDonald 15th and 16th. Scott Malcolm is 17th, Jordan McGlone is in 18th place, Gary Woldbolt is in 19th, and Carlos Luciano is in 20th. Behind them, we've got Jarrett Glass, Steve Hefford, Kip Stevens, Nick McCarran is there as well, Max Wright, Jordan Giddings, Jamie Ayres, Luke Cooper, Zach Millett, and Stefan Krumboltz. It was another name I've not seen before. He's 30th. And the lights are coming on. And the cars get onto... Oh, it seems like they're doing a rolling start. I was under the impression we were gridding up for a standing start there. So good to see that they're going to do a rolling one then. I have to see what happens to Pete Newman, because I think he is classed as a pro driver. And yeah, it seems like he's got out of the way, actually, to go to the back of the field. So that means that Carl Hardy is going to inherit second place. But there's Ben Mears, who recently won the AM Championship in the Dynamics Sim Races World GT Series. So well done to Ben. I'm sure he's going to be happy with being on pole today as well. There's Newman there, not quite sure what's happened. He's stopped the car, but yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know whether he's still following onto the back of the pack, but we'll see. There are quite a lot of cars actually that haven't jumped into the race, it seems. I think they might have just jumped into the practice session leading up to it and then not gone for qualifying, but there's the whole field then filtering their way around. You'll hear the RUF pace car on full chat. Seems to not want to change out of first gear, but he'll pull off any second in a nice flamboyant way. There he goes. And Ben Mears puts his foot down and away we go for the first race of the evening. Some guys there, look at the Result Clothing car in the middle. That is, I believe, Mikey Key. He's gained 5 places already. Fantastic run by Mikey through the middle. He cuts down to the inside now. Benjamin Mears leads the way then. David Van Broek is with him as well. Carl Hardy also in there. Can't really hear much contact going on, so it seems they've got it nice and clean. Van Broek in a boosted livery there, actually, I've noticed. Not sure whether you're getting the same as me, and sometimes the liveries can be different for different people depending on when they're updated, but yeah, David Van Broek in a boosted livery, so he'll be representing them up front. He's doing a good job of it so far, as we see further down the order there. McClone in the thick of it in that very bright yellow MX5, but there's your race leader, Benjamin Mears. He's got Carl Hardy behind him with an absolute stream of cars. He's got his teammate Craig Jones on the outside there as well, the number 38 car. That's Zachary Rubin. He's round the outside of Van Broek, who's just going backwards around that right-hander there. See them all just taking different lines out there. It's pretty much 2x2 all the way around. As Craig Jones comes over to the right there on Rubin, and down the inside goes Rob Lundgren in the number 9 machine. He's going to try and get the run onto the banking for the first time. It's going to be... Oh, no, he's been turned by Rubin. That was really poor spatial awareness. And, oh, luckily... Oh, there goes Lugo Vickery into... Oh, Lugo Vickery has... If he didn't have any bad luck, he'd had no luck at all, Tyler Lugo Vickery. Honestly, he got caught by Lundgren there. I think he tried to avoid him because he did go down off the oval, but Real shame there for Tyler, and David Ayres got caught up in that as well. You can see them having issues further down. Oh, and again, that was Mick Barry just completely turning. Who was that going flying down the order? I'm not sure whether that was... It was Joe McDonald. Joe's not going to be happy about that one. Making contact in a straight line is never a good thing. As Mikey Key then, with Van Broek on his outside in the number 3 car. You may notice as well some of these numbers may change over the course of the evening. It is in what's called a hosted session rather than in a league session, so the numbers aren't usually predefined per car unless they've chosen it beforehand. And here we go then, on board with Van Broek. He's just staying behind Mikey Key, just assessing the situation at the moment. Fantastic racing suit with the checkered pattern on it there, and you can see just in front of them how close it's getting for the lead. Oh, there's contact, and that's surely it's Carl Hardy around. It is. Nearly collects his teammate. And there was contact between the two leaders. I think that was Ben Mears and Carl Hardy. Carl's going to be gutted about that. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but it just seemed like they just squeezed each other a bit too much. And to the front is Richard Mason, who's gained 8 places so far in what I think is his first race in the series. He's having a right barrel of laughs. He's away with it at the moment. He's got this train of cars stuck behind him. There you can see the biggest movers. And at the moment, it's Jarrett Glass in 11th place, who's gained 10 places overall, and Van Broek down the inside of Mears. Just has a look, he doesn't actually go for the move. Mears is a lot closer. Oh, and he makes contact with the leader. Oh, that was pretty poor, to be fair. It's difficult when the car in front of you brakes earlier and a bit harder than you, but that's a real shame for Mason. That he's going to be absolutely furious at that, is Richard Mason. Ben Mears will be kicking himself for that, because it's a shame for it to happen like that. But once again, we're treated to incidents, and it's 2 by 2 then onto the banking for the second time. 3.5 minutes of the race gone already. Lap times, first time round, Carl Hardy, fastest lap of the race, 2:18.6. And everyone else obviously slower than that. Some cars even doing laps near 3 minutes, but look at the slipstreaming down here. Hopefully they don't make too much contact and turn each other around. John Roberts is in there, you can see that in the bright green boosted car. The one on the outside is Van Broek. We've got to get on the brakes. Roberts in the back of Mears. Oh, Mears brakes early. Van Broek is in there. Oh, on the inside is Jones. He's off. He's back on, but look at the momentum he's lost there, trying to get it through the bus stop. So Van Broek re-inherits the lead, and it's John Roberts on the outside of Benjamin Mears. Flying round this banking they go. Roberts now slots in behind Ben. Can't decide whether to slot in or come back out. He's going to have that throttle absolutely pinned. And joining him on the right-hand side there is Rubin. Rubin's coming through as well. Zachary Rubin, number 38. He's going to go all the way around the outside. He's going to try and push John into the lead of this race. Oh, it's 3 wide. There's contact with Mears and Van Broek. Oh, and again, and even more contact with Mears. There's a bit of a domino effect there. Rubin's run wide. And somehow Zachary Rubin is taking the lead through that. Brilliant stuff. Absolutely opportunistic through the middle, and there you go. Pete Newman, fastest lap of the race. You can see there, 2:08.3. But look at it all just bunching up behind. Mears just seems a little bit impatient in this race. He started on pole, of course, and he wants to get back to the front, but just on the brakes, everyone just seems to be catching him out a little bit. I'm not sure whether he's used to braking later than them or something, but hopefully it gets cleaner for him so far. Otherwise, the front end of that MX5 isn't going to be any good. John Roberts down the inside for the race lead. Brilliant stuff on Zachary Rubin. But now he's going to be on the outside as they come to the banking. Oh, Zachary comes across in the braking zone. Make sure he gets the optimal line through the corner. Van Broek is third. Oh, Mears is off into a different county. Well, it wouldn't be a county, it's the States, so it'll be a different state. And he's now side by side with one of the, that's Richard Haynes. And there's the race leaders. You can see Robert's jaws closed in. You can see he's let off the throttle a bit. He doesn't want to get that now. He wants to get a big run as they got off there. The further back you are when you start a slipstream, as well, look at his teammate Van Broek actually. You should see him pop up any second. There he is. Roberts goes to the outside then as they go into the bus stop, side by side, nearly making it 3 wide there is Carl Jacquelet. He's gained 5 places so far. Rubin turns in, Roberts turn in. They don't make contact. Oh, Rubin's wide, and he's going to get a slowdown surely on the exit there. Real shame for Zachary Rubin, but there's your new race leader, John Roberts. Carl Jacquelet is second with Van Broek in third. 3 really brightly coloured yellow and green cars towards the front of the field. Van Broek is one who wanting to make this a 3 wide scenario, although right behind them there, Richard Haynes, the number 10 car, he so far has gained 11 places in this race. The biggest movers have all done that. Well, John Roberts was one of them. He's just lost that place now down the inside to Jack Alette. Brilliant stuff. Slithering his way through. And oh, there's contact with Van Broek and Haynes. And oh, there's Mears as well, caught up in that. It just didn't need to happen, boys. Really didn't need to happen. There's no need to get any closer down the straight. And, well, that's the result of it there. Haynes is out of the race, and so is Van Broek as well. Van Broek doing a really good job up until that point. Real shame. But here we go then. They're falling. They're just dropping like flies. That's the phrase I'm looking for. Mikey Key runs wide there because of damage. John Roberts now chasing after Jack Alette, who's the new race leader. Key coming across a little bit on Rubin there. Keep your distance, son. Through the kink. It's going to get focused in through there. Oh, Key runs a little bit wide. Just nearly washes out into him there. Zachary Rubin later on the brakes. He's got the inside line. Key's going to try and get the cutback, and he certainly does. He chucks it down the inside. Bit of grass. Flamboyant moving around. Oh, on the brakes. Nearly a bit of contact there. And onto the banking once again. For only the 4th time. It feels like this race has been going a lot longer than that, but yeah, it's not the... it just seems like we've done it a couple more times than that, but there we go. Jack Alette then in the lead, Roberts 2nd, Rubin 3rd, Mikey Key 4th, Mick Barry 5th, Scott Malcolm up to 6th place. He's gained 11 positions overall. Jordan McGlone has done the same. He's 7th. Gary Walbolt is 9th, and Carl Hardy rounds out your top 10. Carl obviously back up there after his incident earlier. The 2 result clothing cars side by side then. That's Barry and Key for 4th and 5th. Oh, Mick Barry's overdone it a little bit. Gathers it together though, but he's going to have a bit of a slower run now on the exit. His teammate doesn't make the most of the slipstream, but someone that's going to want to do that is Zachary Rubin, right on the back of John Roberts now. Is he going to go for the move early? He's just going to give him a bit of a bump, it seems. We're inside the front end, but look at the effect it's having. Carl Jack Alette has just got nothing he can do. Side by side, there goes Roberts, and Rubin surely wants to get a move done now. Is he going to make it 3 wide? I hope he doesn't. He's just bumping Roberts all the way down the straight. He hangs back a little bit. Roberts is going to have to come across the inside now, but just not clip the nose of Jack Alette. Jack Alette's on the brakes early. He knows that it's his job to make sure this incident doesn't happen. Although he lets back off the brakes and makes sure he keeps it down the inside of Rubin. Really good stuff. There's the 2 result clothing cars, Mikey Key and Mick Barry, and they have Scott Malcolm for company. Malcolm through the middle. Really good move there by Scott. Just got on with it and he's away. Up to 5th place. That's 12 places gained so far for Scott. He's the biggest mover in the field at the moment. Tied with Nick McCarron of Momo, who is 12th. And oh, Mick Barry's off in front of him. And once again, it's another place for Malcolm. So he's 13 places gained now. Roberts in the lead by about half a second over Jack Alette and Rubin, who are going to be scrapping. Look at the different lines they're taking through there. Zachary takes a really wide entrance to the corner, hoping to get a quicker exit, but eventually it just all sort of levels itself out. Really good scrap going on in the background as well, but these guys are going to be slipstreaming each other a lot, and Jack Alette is going to have a long slipstream up to John Roberts before the bus stop, so he might get a really good overspeed here and may be able to get it done on the brakes. We'll have to see, because he's definitely within range. It's 0.4 of a second now. You can see it coming down in the bottom right of your screen. Look at that gap going down. Look at the overspeed that Jack Alette is getting. He's going to have to go the long way there around the outside. Rubin's gap is coming down to him as well. Hopefully Rubin doesn't make it 3 wide. He's just going to, again, give him a bit of a bump. You've got to be really careful doing that in these cars, though, to be fair. They're easy to unsettle at the rear because there's no weight over the rear end. All the engine and everything's at the front. And Roberts now demoted to 3rd, and he's got a bad run through the bus stop there. 2 teammates, Mick Barry and Craig Jones, and they're making contact. Side by side out the bus stop they go, and here's the battle for the lead again. Zachary Rubin. Oh, you can just see it unsettle Jack Alette's car. That's what I was going on about then. You can't be moving around too much on the back of these cars in front because you'll just spin them, and it's just really not fair to do that in this scenario. As Roberts round the outside then thinks if you boys are going to hang back a bit, I'm going to have this. But look at the gap. Rubin, that's the difference the slipstream's got. He closes right back up to Jack Alette again, but he just needs to just hang back at that. That's probably the right distance you want, really, and then try and get a move done on the brakes. Jack Alette braking just at the right point there, getting the job done. Keeps the lead, he's a little bit wider. Oh, 3 result clothing cars there. That's Mikey Key, Craig Jones and Mick Barry. Oh, Barry's clipped his teammate. Jones is around. Don't think Jones got caught by anyone. I think Mikey Keys just lost it as well. I think Mikey Keys gone off somewhere. He seemed to have lost the rear end when he was coming out of the second part of that corner. Back to the lead battle we go then. Jacqueline from Rubin. Roberts behind them. This has turned out to be a great scrap between these three. Keeping it nice and clean. You can see Rubin trying that wide entrance into the corner again to get a quick exit, and it's worked for him there. Look at that. He's got a really good overspeed, but he's just got nowhere to go. And onto the banking once again. He's got a really good gap actually that time around. Oh, he's running really wide. Oh, he's hit the wall. He's damaged the front right of the car. I just think he was a bit eager on the throttle, and that's really going to hurt his momentum down here now. And that's not to say even if it's damaged the car in terms of its aerodynamics. Oh, it's just so sketchy on the back end there. Rubin all over him. He just needs to not move around on the back end. It's just very, very risky. Not sure what sort of background Rubin's got in terms of driving this car, but not everybody's got the ability to save it when you're at such high speed like that. If someone's all over the back of you, gets a great run through the bus stop. But again, just glued to the back of Jacqueline, and Roberts is once again going to get the same run. We're going to have one more lap after this one then. And you know you're on board with Roberts, don't you? The brightest interiors you're going to see in the series. He'll have his foot to the floor now. I think he might even hang back, you know, and just see. He'll just save it for that last lap. Because you don't want to be that car that's leading them round onto the last lap in the oval section. Because you're the one that's going to get absolutely shot past by people on the slipstream. Rubin decides to go to the inside a little bit there, but has to pull out of it last minute. Really good line around the first corner from all three of them. As we see Hardy being overtaken by McGlone there. McGlone up 13 places. Steve Hefford, biggest mover now, 14 places, gaining to 8th. But oh, that line didn't really work for Zachary Rubin there. And Carl Jacqueline gets a little bit of breathing space. There's only 2/10 of breathing space, as you can see on the graphic in the bottom right there, but it's breathing space all the same. Every 1/10 of a second will count. And I believe Mr. Tom Stanley, who's watching tonight, he's popped up in the chat. He'll know that every 10th counts because he was chasing me down for the only race I won in BSR Kia Club Series. And that was a scary sight, and I imagine this is pretty scary for Jacqueline now as he leads them onto the banking for the final time. He's going to have to see, if he gets overtaken into the bus stop, he's going to have to get a really good run out of it to make sure that he can get to the front before the flag. And is this going to be too early to go if you're Zachary Rubin? Do you want to try the move now, or do you do it out of the bus stop and onto the final corner? Definitely the preferred time to do it. John Roberts there, hanging back a little bit though. I think he's got the right idea here. There's John, as they go into the bus stop once more. Oh, Jacqueline a bit wide on entrance. Rubin's really got the run through there, but he's not going to get much slipstream though. He's pushing Jacqueline. But watch those bright green wheels of John Roberts now. This is where John's going to have his foot planted to the floor. He's going to have to go around the outside though. Jacqueline, of course, is going to keep the car on the inside. And, oh, Zachary Rubin stops Roberts. He goes to the outside. He completely negates the slipstream. John comes down. Zachary comes down. Oh, Zachary's underneath Jacqueline. He's managed to actually do that as well. I think he's going to get it as well. He's going to go to the line. Zachary Rubin down the inside. Is Roberts going to get there ahead of Jacqueline? It's not going to work for him. Zachary Rubin takes race one of the evening. Brilliant opportunistic stuff there by Zach. And there, that's Pete Newman making his way up to 6th place after starting at the back as well. After he set a qualifying lap as well. Big battle across the line there. That was Mick Barry, Kip Stevens involved, Jordan Giddings. The number 42 car, that's Max Wright, I believe, in the wall there. Gary Walbolt, there's Craig Jones coming across the line rather slowly. Not sure what's happened to that. And here's David Ayres. Bit further down the order, of course. Incident earlier on meant that he couldn't be up there fighting for it all, but we saw a couple of silly little incidents in that one, to be fair. I mean, just accidents that don't need to happen. There's people moving around too much, in my opinion anyway. I mean, people may not agree, but in terms of moving around on the straight. There's just a lot too much movement, really. I know it wasn't the best constructed sentence in the world, but yeah, it just needs to. People just need to realise it's a straight and stay in a straight line. I suppose you just got to know that the guys there next to, as you see there with Jordan Giddings getting turned around after the race by Carl Hardy there. But overall, it was a good scrap at the front. Zachary Rubin then takes the win in what I believe is his first race in the series as well. I'd be very, very happy with that. And it was just a bit of a scary drive at times. Obviously, putting the nose right underneath the cars in front, but at the end of the day, he got the job done, and that move at the end was very, very nicely timed. He made sure that John Roberts couldn't go all the way around the outside, and once he'd taken care of that, he dived to the inside, and off he went. There you go then, Zachary Rubin, race 1 winner, Carl Jacquelet in second, John Roberts rounding out the podium. Scott Malcolm drove a really good race for 13 places gained up to 4th. Well done on that one for Scott. Carl Hardy's 5th. Pete Newman was 6th, and Jordan McGlone 7th, Kip Stevens 8th. Jordan Giddings was 9th with Nick McHerron rounding out your top 10. Then we saw Mick Barry. Max Wright was in the wall at the end of the race there. Don't quite know what happened to him. Gary Walbolt was 13th. Steve Hefford 14th. Craig Jones was in 15th with David Ayres 16th. Mikey Key 17th. And Carlos Luciano 2 laps down in 18th. That will mean that Mikey Key is the lowest car available for the reverse grid. And then you've got David Van Broek and Richard Haynes. Real shame about their incident with Benjamin Mears as well. Jarrett Glass dropped down the order at some point. Didn't quite see what happened to him. He was 22nd. Joe McDonald got turned around early on. He was 23rd. Richard Mason 24th, also without contact with Mears. Rob Lundgren 25th, and Tyler Lugo Vickery in 26th. And the rest of the cars down there are people that were joined into the practice session and didn't actually take part in qualifying or the race. They would be Jamie Ayres, Luke Cooper, Zach Millett, Stefan Krumboltz, Jack Ashton, Bubba Gale, Ryan Otto, Sean Black, Ronald LeBlanc, and RJ Smotherman. And I believe there's a few others just a bit further down. The likes of Kevin Alderman, Andy Jones, Harrison Chandler, James Brown, Liam Sheen, Craig Hawkins, and Seth Groover. And that will mean that for the reverse grid then, it'll be Mikey Key or above that will be eligible for that. And I believe my fabulous assistant, Mr. Marco Barbanera, will be with us any second with the much-loved reverse grid wheel. Marco, are you there?
Yes, but I think that sadly we don't have reverse wheels if we are using the same rules as last week, where they qualified for every race. So, and
Yes.
this is done
Chaz has done a boo-boo. Yes.
in order to avoid, I think, the pro drivers being, in the mix for the race win, which at some point I was a little bit concerned it would happen because the amateurs were crashing left and right, but we had a very nice finish, and yes, so I think no reverse, and we will be back in 10 to 15 minutes for the second race.
My name is Steven Corpenos. I'm a senior web developer here at iRacing, and I work on the beta UI. It's funny because iRacing has been around for 10 years, but we want to keep delivering the best possible user experience to our customers, and we've found that the old UI isn't exactly what we're trying to deliver in 2018. We want to use new features and provide the best possible experience when using the sim. One of the projects that I've been working on is some custom heat racing configuration for hosted races. We've been listening to our customers. Everyone's been asking for custom heat races. Maybe you want to tweak a few things with the preset iRacing configurations. Well, now you can using the beta UI. So once you're at the home page of the beta UI, you just go to create a race. And from there you go to your set race options. And you'll notice here under event types, you can actually choose heat racing. First, I'm going to show you how to create a new format from scratch. You can choose the number of entrants. And as you can see, when I made that change, the change was actually reflected on the right side in the graph. Also, you can use the estimated duration at the bottom of the graph when you're changing the length to see what the total duration of your event will be. In addition, you can customize every aspect of the session information, practice, qualifying, heat races, consolations, and of course, the final feature race. Because the beta UI allows us to develop features that are robust and complex, this feature will be exclusively available on the beta UI. Once you've made all of the changes, you can hit save. Say you forgot what you selected. You can always preview it using the preview format button. We are very excited to release the brand new heat racing configuration feature that will be available in Season 3 of iRacing.
Team racing allows multiple iRacing members to team up and race together just like in real-world endurance series. Teammates can share driving duties, spot for one another, or be a crew chief. Team racing is free both to join a team and to create one. Each teammate races on his or her own computer from wherever they want to. Your teammates can be anywhere in the world, and changing drivers mid-race is as easy as a click of a button. iRacing features team endurance events ranging from just a couple of hours to 24 hours in length. So, if you fancy taking part in an iRacing endurance race in the future, you can learn more about team racing on the teams page on the member website. The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
chair of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMerit at the line.
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway and the BSR MX5 Monday Cup and Apex Racing TV. My name is Chaz Draycott. Alongside me is Marco Barbanera, who will be providing some more vocal role in the second and third races of the day. Still quite an interesting race one, Marco. Bit scruffy, but we saw some good fights at the front. Do you reckon we'll be up for the same again, with obviously qualifying coming into play?
Yes, I think hopefully the drivers have learned a bit from the first race, especially, when we were talking about this car being very, very easy to turn if you try to push from the back. I know that very well, unfortunately, because in the Tuesday series a few weeks ago, we did the round at Phoenix, and just at the beginning of the race, I tried to push Craig Jones, and with the smallest of touches, I sent him flying into the barriers, and he was first and I was second. And I felt so bad because, being an oval driver, I'm used to push the guy from behind and hope for the best, and usually you can do a lot. But here, if you just hit the car in front of you the wrong way, it's a disaster.
It certainly will be. We've got a grid for this one then. They're just lining up to do their rolling start now. John Roberts puts it on pole position, 0.6 of a second, nearly 0.7 ahead of Mick Barry. 1,000th quicker for Mick Barry, and that would have matched his car number. Rob Lundgren is third, with Joe McDonald in fourth, Carl Hardy fifth, with his teammate Craig Jones in sixth. The Result Clothing car is doing really well in the new Monday Cup. Carl Jacquelet is seventh, Scott Malcolm is eighth, David Ayres is ninth, and Steve Hefford rounds out your top 10. David Van Broek will be hoping for better results in this one after an incident in race one. Kip Stevens is 12th, Nick McCarron 13th, Max Wright 14th, Jordan McClone is 15th, Grant Wesley is 16th with Sean Gardner in 17th, Jordan Giddings 18th, 19th is Mikey Key, Roberto Pasquero is showing as 20th, but I don't think he's taken the start, and the same for Tyler Lugo Vickery, who would have been 21st. So smaller field for this one, of course. A couple of guys actually that were in the first race, but not the second one. Not sure whether they've not quite followed the entire format of the evening, but here we go then. There seems like some of the cars. Oh yeah, of course the pro drivers have a 20-second rolling start delay behind them. I was just going to say some of them didn't get away, but they have to wait for these AM guys to get going then. And there's the leader of them then, John Roberts. I make that sound like there's some sort of army or military, but it's John Roberts then, who will lead them away with Mick Barry on the front row. He's got his teammate Rob Lundgren behind, and then Joe McDonald and two more Result Clothing cars. So Result Clothing cars definitely making a a good charge on the front of this field then. We'll see how they get on. Safety car will pull off any second to unleash them. It's a very nerve-wracking part of the race when you're having a rolling start. It's just knowing when to go. The safety car flies out of the way. Lundgren and Roberts will be communicating well in their voice channel, and they're away. Mick Barry comes straight down the bank in to say, nope, Robert Lundgren, you are not going anywhere, my son. And there we go then, into turn one. Roberts turns it in. Mick Barry a little bit later on the brakes, but really late on the brakes. Joe McDonald around the outside, 3 wide in the middle there. That was Craig Jones. Mikey Key and David Ayres was in there as well. I don't think anyone's around or off. It seems like everyone's got to a clean start. Great, great stuff. Lundgren down the inside of Barry, just has a look, doesn't get the move done. And Barry now, Marco, is going to want to chase after him as we've got a bit of dicing further down the order.
Yes, you absolutely need to stay in the draft on this track, and especially the beginning of the race is quite easy to do that. If you know, cars are all close, so qualifying results are not very indicative right now. When the draft comes into play, it's going to be a completely different game.
Yeah, you've just got to make sure that you stick with the guys in front. And on an infield section like this, where a lot of different lines can be taken through different corners, it can be a bit easier to do than other tracks where it's quite a sort of a one-channel way. Oh, as Lundgren is around just as he comes onto the oval, it's so easy to do. There's a bit of a crest halfway around that corner as well, and I know from doing the Daytona 24 hours that in GT cars and things with just enough power to light up the rears, mainly just rear-wheel drive cars in general, it's easy to do that. And Lundgren, real shame there, now drops down the order. Now here's the battle for 4th and 5th then between Carl Hardy and Carl Jacquelet. Carl and Carl, one's K, one's C. K's on the outside, C's on the inside. No, he's not. It's the other way around. Never mind. I tried to do that and I didn't. And Jacquelet goes up to 4th place then. Hardy down to 5th. Nice little battle here then, as there's Sean Gardner in the boosted car. A bit further down the order, but Mick Barry leads the way then. Hugging that yellow line all the way around, and John Roberts is going to get a really good run here, Marco, and he's going to have to try and get it done for turn one.
You know, as an oval guy, I love this kind of racing. I like the playing with the draft, especially at Daytona. Looks like a NASCAR race with MX5s. It's brilliant.
Now they're nearly 3 wide going into turn one. Down the inside is Mick Barry. Oh, Roberts doesn't give him all the room in the world. Great save by Mick Barry on the brakes there. Roberts runs a little bit wide on the exit because of the line he took. And Mick Barry retains the race lead. Then McDonald is now in 3rd. And oh, in the background, 2 Result Clothing cars nearly coming to blows again. We saw 2 of them make contact in race 1. As Barry and Roberts got very close there. Roberts was really late on the brakes, chucked the car down the inside to try and intimidate him. And this is the battle all the way from 3rd back now. Really good train of cars we've got going on here. Had a really long chat with Mick Barry last night about his previous involvement in the military and so on. We had a really good chin wag. He's a good bloke, is Mick. He's done a lot of exciting things in his life as well from the stories he was telling me. And this is probably going to be one of them. This battle with Roberts is lining up to be a titanic one. Then as they come onto the oval, onto the brakes, you can really see the front end of this MX5 dive down. Joe McDonald there, 3rd place overall. There's Scott Malcolm. He had a really good race 1, did Scott, gained quite a lot of places. Missed all of the incidents and managed to bring the car home quite early on. And John Roberts now needs to just filter back down. And just try and get that slipstream. But as I was saying before, Marco, you don't want to be too close to the back of the car in front when you start getting the slipstream, because you've not got much of a run then, as Joe McDonald really pushes Roberts down the straight.
Yes, and also one thing that you don't want to do, you don't want to be in front coming into this chicane on the final lap. There was a few years ago, I don't know if you remember that, they had the MX5 European Cup, and it was done to to do like a prize for European users of iRacing, as Jacquelet is going very slow and McDonald as well. What happened there?
They might have got slowdown penalties, I think, through the bus stop.
Yeah, because I don't see any contact, so bad luck for them. So and basically this series was always racing at Daytona, and I did a lot of races, and if you were able to stay behind in second, behind the car in front of you, come the last lap at the chicane, you were able to go around no matter what on the final part of the lap.
Yeah, you've got to be really tactical with it. When tracks with a lot of slipstreaming involved are on the calendar, you just got to think about where you're going to put the car and when, really. I mean, we saw it in the other one, the first race of the evening, of course, where we were saying you don't want to be that car that is in the lead coming onto the last lap, because everyone's just going to slipstream past you and take the win away, as we rightfully saw as well. Giddings just doing the fastest lap of the race there, actually, a bit further down the order, 2:09.0. So well done to Jordan. And John Roberts then having to defend this lead once again. Second race in a row he's been in a battle for the lead. He's got Mick Barry, Carl Hardy and Craig Jones in the 3 Result Clothing cars behind him. Then it's Malcolm, and then it's another Result Clothing cars of Ayres behind them. So,
and that could be important for if they can keep it clean and not crash. This could be a very, very important thing for the end of the race, because of course they can work together, and when you can work together on an oval, it's always a nice thing, especially if your opponent is working alone. In this case, Roberts, and I think also Malcolm is alone with no teammates in the front. So good chance for the Result Clothing guy to have a good result today.
Yeah,
that
definitely.
was a terrible pun, and I'm sorry, it was not intended.
Well, they'll be hoping to get the result they want, I suppose. And you see there, Mick Barry just straight past Roberts down the straight. Roberts will probably brake early into the bus stop, and he does. He's just going to be wary of Craig Jones behind him then, who's going to have a better line through there. Although Roberts gets a really nice exit out of the bus stop, actually. And there's his teammate, Van Broek. Or at least I think he's his teammate. He's running the same livery anyway.
Yeah, that's what caught my eye earlier. So maybe they are teammates. Probably they are. So poor Scott Malcolm. Poor Scott Malcolm is all alone.
I'm sure he'll be happy to be up there and fighting with these guys anyway. As we see then, Jones getting involved in this battle with Mick Barry and John Roberts. Then he's going to make it 3 wide as they go across the line, is he? Not quite. Not quite the overlap there. Leaving each other plenty of room though, which is always nice to see. They've all got really brightly coloured wheels, so you'd think that they'd avoid each other just off that alone. Oh, Mick Barry runs wide a little bit on the brakes. Roberts takes really good avoided action there. It was fantastically timed. But now he's got Craig Jones right up his trumpet. And Scott Malcolm is there in 5th place as well still. David Ayres. And then Van Broek as well. So this train is not getting any longer. But it certainly is getting shorter, I think. They're getting just closer and closer together. Mick Barry's still at the front, but he's got a bad exit out of the hairpin. It looks like Roberts is going to catch him up through the kink. It's a scary enough corner in a GT3 car that I imagine in something as soft as the MX5. It's not the most pleasant of corners to go around. Roberts really hanging it around the outside, keeps the momentum. Mick Barry just hugs it to the curb, but John's got a really good run there. And he might even get this done down the inside. He's already ahead. You can tell where the shadows are positioned on the track. And fantastic move by Roberts. Oh, Barry catches the grass with one wheel. His teammate Jones is down the inside now. And through they go, side by side onto the banking. But John Roberts, really, really good driving there to get it around the outside. And then, of course, Marco, he secured the inside as they came onto the oval.
Yeah, very nice stuff. Obviously, these guys, they have to be very careful because they don't want to hit each other, the Result Clothing guys, so they have to be careful. If they want to race for the win, they have to be in one piece as the last lap comes. And look at that, look at the overspeed that they get when they drive with each other. They have to be very careful because it's so easy to make a mistake.
Yeah, especially going into somewhere like the bus stop as well. It is easy to sort of forget how much of an overspeed you have got, and you take the normal approach that you would do and try and carry as much momentum as you can through there. And yeah, it's very, very easy to overdo it as Craig Jones goes for the lead then around the outside. And look at Mick Barry. He might have washed off quite a lot of his momentum though, going that quickly up to the high side. I don't think he's going to get the overlap. But none of these guys have got slipstream now, but Carl Hardy has behind them. He's not quite directly behind any of them. He slots in behind Jones, and there you go. Look at the speed difference Carl Hardy's got. Roberts is just coming up a slight bit there. They've just got to be so careful, and there's so many mixed lines going into here. People dive down the inside. And speaking of doing so, Scott Malcolm there, side by side with Mikey Key. Sorry, it's David Ayres, not Mikey Key. I apologise. Bit of contact with the back of, that was Carl Hardy there. And this is just getting more and more feisty as we go on, Marco. This is great.
Yes, this is fantastic stuff. And of course, if you want more of the same, well, you are in luck because tomorrow we have 4 races in the MX5 proper series. And of course on Thursday we have the grand finale of the BSRTC, also from Daytona if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be, well, a lot of fun this week.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic week of racing. Oh, Van Broek and Scott Malcolm either side of David Ayres in the background there. He just got absolutely pinballed through the middle. Don't quite think he's lost the place to Scott yet, unless Scott puts it down the inside on the brakes. But there we go for the lead once again. It's Barry and Roberts side by side. And Mick Barry's managed to get the nose down the inside there, and he's going to get ahead of him onto the banking. Really fierce stuff by these result clothing cars. Obviously, if one of them drops back, the next one's just going to slot forward. I think John Roberts is going to get sick of seeing him. But he's not dropped back any further than second so far as John, so he's doing a good job. Craig Jones is the biggest mover in this group. Actually, sorry, Van Broek has gained 6 places. Jordan McGlone has gained 7. He's the biggest mover in the field. He's 8th overall at the moment. We've lost Max Wright, Grant Wesley from this race as well. Steve Hefford seems to be quite a while down. Not sure what's happened to him. As side by side, Jones and Barry make contact through the bus stop. And that just shows you what the differing lines do. And there's contact on the exit. Oh, Ayres is heavily into the wall. And there's McGlone as well. Jordan McGlone has gone off. And the number 17, he was number 22 earlier, and obviously taking that number off your cars obviously just caused him bad luck. I'm not sure how he's managed that. But Roberts is now to the front with Van Broek in second. Cracking stuff by the boosted guys. And let's have a look back then. This is how McGlone did it. There's a big mess going on in front of him. Oh, he's just gone in way too hot and on the weight transfer. Great save, though. It didn't completely go around. That was a really good bit of car control by McGlone there. As we hear 3 wide there. Just caught a glimpse of it. Roberts leading it then. Van Broek second. Jones third. Max Wright was on the pit lane exit there. And this is Mick Barry with Jack Alette on the inside. And that's McDonald on the outside. McDonald getting a bit squirrely down the inside of Jack Alette. Oh, they nearly made contact. I think they might have done just a little bit door to door, but they got away with it because it wasn't a quarter panel like we see so often in these cars. Mick Barry trying to go through the middle now. Jack Alette on the inside. McDonald around the outside. Tries to carry the momentum. Does a great job of it as well, but just the natural tighter line has just prevailed there for Jack Alette. And you can see the pro cars in the background, led by Stevens, and then it's Giddings and McHerron. These guys having a really good scrap though. Down the inside goes Jack Alette. Oh, he's running wide. McDonald is really wise to it. Mick Barry, not so wise up the inside. Just nearly turns Jack Alette round there. That was great car control. I think he just thought he'd go for it, but I don't know if he expected Jack Alette to dive it down the inside that much, but they got away with it. That's the main thing. I think Jack Alette might have gone a bit wide in the background there actually and lost a place, but there's your race leader then, John Roberts. And yeah, McLeod has got ahead of, McGlone has got ahead of Jack Alette there. So it's Roberts then with his teammate Van Broek behind him, but Craig Jones in that, what's got slightly beaten up rear end, that MX5, the result clothing car. He's not giving up and he's giving it everything, and so is Roberts. Really, really nice run through the bus stop there. He's gained quite a bit of time actually. Obviously the slipstream coming into effect, and McGlone down the inside of McDonald. He's all over him through the bus stop, really feisty. I'm not sure whether he might have got a slowdown for that there, because he cut quite a lot of that corner on the exit, but he seems to have got away with it. And now they're side by side onto their banking once again, and here's the battle for the lead between the two teammates. John Roberts and David Van Broek is just pushing him. He's just giving him a shove, saying, come on, son. One more lap to go then. Let's get on with it and let's win this thing.
You know, Chaz, the situation has been completely reversed because now the 2 boosted guys, I suppose, in the front, and only 2 result clothing cars with... oh, and a mistake there from Van Broek, and now I think, yeah, the top 4 are once again reunited, but, you know, result clothing lost the numbers of advantage that they had just a few laps ago because of that crash.
Yeah, they really have as well. They've got to try and work together here 2 on 2. And it's Carl Hardy on the outside trying to get back on the track as Jones is in front of him. Jones into the back of Van Broek a little bit there as they went around the hairpin. But there's a little bit of a gap now. This is going to be important. They may be thinking at this point, we're not as close as we want to be, but you don't want to be that close, really. I mean, we've said it a couple of times already tonight. You want to be a bit further back when you get in the slipstream, so the overspeed just builds up and up and up, and by the time you've gone past the car that you're chasing, you've absolutely flown past him. You've not just sort of creeped by at a couple of mile-an-hour difference. You've absolutely nailed it. And I think we could see Carl Hardy here, actually, as probably one of the favourites for this. I mean, you may think I'm a bit mad with him being that far back, but you watch, that white and green car is going to be on the prowl any minute. Roberts still doing all he needs to do, though, up front. Relatively clean car. There's his teammate Van Broek, but look at the speed difference. can see the time in the bottom right corner of your screen coming down. It's all about the bus stop. What do you reckon? Who are we looking at, Marco? Who do you reckon is going to get this?
Well, I'm going for Craig Jones for this one.
Let's see what he does. He dives on the brakes a little bit early. Makes sure he gets a nice run. That's just a pivotal part of this race. It's probably the slowest you'll go through that bus stop in the entire race, just to make sure you get the momentum on the exit. And here we go then. Roberts leads the way. Van Broek is creeping up on him. Now, is Van Broek going to go for the win? That's going to be an interesting question. Is he just going to stick behind his teammate and just help him out and defend? Or is he going to go for it? He's just worming his way up to the back. He pushes him. You can see how it unsettles the car, but here comes Craig Jones. He's pulled out of that slipstream a bit too early, if you ask me. Carl Hardy's going to be there as well, but I don't think he's going to beat his teammate. Van Broek goes up to defend. Really wise driving there. And it's John Roberts takes your second race of the day. Really good driving. Oh, as Carl Hardy puts his teammate in the wall there. Probably out of disappointment. Why didn't you get it done, son? Why did you pull out the slipstream that soon? But another good result for Scott Malcolm there. There's Giddings. Oh, he's ploughing it on the brakes there with Nick McCarron and Jackalette behind. Obviously just getting a bit fed up with being bump drafted down the straight. Actually, Giddings put in quite a few of the fastest laps of the race over that one. He was hitting purple sectors quite a lot as Mikey Key crosses the line in 12th. But yeah, a bit of a cleaner race. A few little incidents here and there, but nothing as silly as we saw earlier on. There was nothing sort of in a straight line where people are just randomly getting turned. There's Dave Ayres. He lost out quite early on in that one again. Another issue for him, unfortunately. He'll be hoping that his luck changes for the last race. There's your race 2 winner then. Mr. John Roberts for Boosted Motorsport. Great job by John. He's been in the BSR for a while, and it's good to see him still racking up the wins. I'm sure he'll be happy to have taken that one. It's just a nice controlled drive, really, wasn't it, Marco? He just did everything he needed to do.
Yes, if you asked me in the beginning of the race, I wouldn't have said that he was going to win because he was in the lead, but he had all the result clothing guys and Scott Malcolm behind him, and his teammate Van Broek was basically at the end of the leading train. But circumstances helped them, they kept their cool, and I agree with you. I think that Craig Jones moved out of the draft just a little bit too early on that final straight, and especially since Carl Hardy wasn't very close to him, he wasn't able to receive a proper push, and so very, very unlikely victory given the circumstances at the beginning of the race. The result clothing guys, of course, made that big mistake with the crash at the bus stop in the final laps, and that, of course, having like 5 cars against 2, it's much better than 2 against 2. But
is.
Great stuff from John, and he's been driving very well. Also, in the past meeting at Monza, it was a nice drive for him, and today as well, he's driving. Always at the front. Very, very deserved victory, and I think I'm hoping for more of the same in the third race. And I think yes, we have the race results.
Good stuff. Well, yeah, we'll be hoping for more of that from John. Obviously, with qualifying again for race 3, might repeat the feat. Let's see. John Roberts wins your race then. David Van Broek, his teammate, finishing second there. Great result for him. Craig Jones and Carl Hardy for result clothing are 3rd and 4th, with Scott Malcolm another strong result in 5th. Jordan Giddings, biggest mover in the field, 12 places gained up to 6th. That's a fantastic drive by Jordan. Nick McCarron 7th with Carl Jackalette in 8th. Mick Barry 9th and Jordan McClone finishing in 10th. Mikey Key 11th. David Ayres 12th. Kip Stevens is 13th. Joe McDonald is 14th with Max Wright in 15th. And Steve Hefford in 16th. Rob Lundgren is 17th. Tyler Lugo Vickery did not take the start. And neither did Roberto Pasquero or Grant Wesley either, actually. They're just showing on the timing on here. So, yep, another feisty little race. Hopefully get another one for the 3rd and final race of the evening. And myself and Marco will join you in about 10-15 minutes time on Apex Racing TV. Don't go away.
My name is Steven Corpenos. I'm a senior web developer here at iRacing, and I work on the beta UI. It's funny because iRacing has been around for 10 years, but we want to keep delivering the best possible user experience to our customers, and we've found that the old UI isn't exactly what we're trying to deliver in 2018. We want to use new features and provide the best possible experience when using the sim. One of the projects that I've been working on is some custom heat racing configuration for hosted races. We've been listening to our customers. Everyone's been asking for custom heat races. Maybe you want to tweak a few things with the preset iRacing configurations. Well, now you can using the beta UI. So once you're at the home page of the beta UI, you just go to create a race. Then from there you go to your set race options. And you'll notice here under event types, you can actually choose heat racing. First, I'm going to show you how to create a new format from scratch. You can choose the number of entrants. And as you can see, when I made that change, the change was actually reflected on the right side in the graph. Also, you can use the estimated duration at the bottom of the graph when you're changing the length to see what the total duration of your event will be. In addition, you can customize every aspect of the session information, practice, qualifying, heat races, consolations, and of course, the final feature race. Because the beta UI allows us to develop features that are robust and complex, this feature will be exclusively available on the beta UI. Once you've made all of the changes, you can hit save. Say you forgot what you selected. You can always preview it using the preview format button. We are very excited to release the brand new heat racing configuration feature that will be available in Season 3 of iRacing.
Team racing allows multiple iRacing members to team up and race together just like in real-world endurance series. Teammates can share driving duties, spot for one another, or be a crew chief. Team racing is free both to join a team and to create one. Each teammate races on his or her own computer from wherever they want to. Your teammates can be anywhere in the world, and changing drivers mid-race is as easy as a click of a button. iRacing features team endurance events ranging from just a couple of hours to 24 hours in length. So, if you fancy taking part in an iRacing endurance race in the future, you can learn more about team racing on the teams page on the member website. The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
all done with. What amazing.
Lee to the inside goes Logan Cloudman is going to touch in. Pit press.
saved it.
What a save.
Looks to the outside as Cronkite goes off. De Jong into second place.
Going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's howling down to the inside.
Trying this contact though. As wide left of the racetrack. Chris Venner drives it back down underneath and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact.
He's going to try and make the move around the outside the parabolica. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cut back here. Get the run out the parabolica. That's beautifully done there. Michael Schumacher, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
Last year I was sitting at a desk as a sales manager, and now I'm official McLaren F1 simulator test driver.
So there's 1.4 behind.
This opportunity is huge.
That's faster than the factory McLaren driver, and he's done 6 laps.
Let's go race.
Welcome back to Apex Racing TV and the Daytona International Speedway and the BSR MX5 Monday Cup. I'm Chaz Draycott with Marco Barbanera for you for the third and final race of the evening. And Marco, we've seen two pretty feisty races so far. A lot of battling and a lot of slipstreaming, of course. I'm sure we'll get the same again, won't we?
Absolutely, and we have a slightly longer race for this third and final race of the evening, 20 minutes, so a little bit more time, maybe a little bit more time to plan your move. I'm hoping that these drivers now know all the ins and outs of running in Daytona, so we'll see what they have learned in these first two races and who can get another race win, because I mean, the resort clothing guys will want to redeem their performance from race 2, and John Robertson, of course, his teammate, will want instead to, you know, prove once again that they can win a race. So it's going to be very interesting.
It really will be, as we look at them just crossing the line there. Then Roberts is on pole at the moment from his teammate Robert Lundgren, and David Van Broek, who is for this race in the number 1 car. He is 5th on the grid at the moment. The result clothing guys are still spread out near the top as well. Mikey Key currently 3rd, with David Ayres 6th and Craig Jones 7th and Mick Barry 9th. So last few cars then have been covering their crossing the line. They should be sorted any second. Doesn't look like some of the guys got a lap in. A couple of incident points shared between them. Joe McDonald is out on track. I think he's just crossed the line already, actually, with a 2 minutes 10.5. And it looks like that should be it from what I can see on the timing screen. And here, 1 car still out on track. I think Joe McDonald is actually on a lap. Actually, you can't think it's only 2 laps ago. 2 minutes ago, there he is, just pulling over. Nick McCarron is showing us out on track as well at the moment, doing 115 mile an hour, so he must be on the back straight. There he is. The red and orange Momo Italy car. Wearing number 2 for this race. He's just coming into the bus stop, actually. I thought he was on the final banking. Look at the momentum he can carry through that chicane there. And it's a very difficult corner to get right, really. Any car, isn't it, Marco? It's not the easiest.
I am terrible through that corner in all the years. Every time we do the Daytona 24 hours, my teammates, and I'm the first, of course, to say that. They say, Marco, all these years you still haven't learned how to do that corner properly, and sadly they are right. There are very few corners on this track, easy to learn but very tough to master.
Yeah, there are a lot of things like that where it's all about trying to keep your momentum up, and it's not that easy through most of them. There's a big weight transfer as well through the bus stop, which makes it more difficult. You can see the grid there. Then John Roberts on pole with his teammate Rob Lundgren on the front row. Then it's Mikey Key and Carl Jacquelet, David Van Broek and David Ayres. Craig Jones and Steve Hefford make up the 4th row of the grid. Mick Barry and Scott Malcolm the 5th row. Joe McDonald is 11th, with Sean Gardner 12th, Carl Hardy 13th, Jordan McClone is 14th, Kip Stevens 15th, Nick McCarron 16th, Max Wright 17th, Ricky Springer is showing as 18th, Andy Hunter showing as 19th, and Jordan Giddings starting at the back of the grid in 20th. So maybe see another run through the order from Jordan then. He did a really good run in race 2 for this evening. So hopefully we can see more of the same.
Yes, I think it's going to be another interesting race. Once again, we have overcast conditions, so there should be plenty of grip available to these drivers, especially as the more the tires get into temperature, they will have plenty of grip. And this is also, and this is going to play, I think, if we get day and night transitions coming into the next season. During the Daytona 24 hours, drivers will usually say that driving at night in Daytona is a very nice experience, because yes, it gets very cold, of course, in January in Florida, but since the track is that cold, as soon as the tires get into temperature, they last a long time, and you get very nice grip, which the drivers of course love. And also, this being the Daytona, the 24-hour race with the most nighttime out of them all, being done this early in the year, there is plenty of time without the sun. But also I think this is the track with the most lights out of those at the Aosta 24-hour race. So it's a very nice experience all around. And personally, my favorite endurance event of the year in real life and in racing, the only one I do. Because the track is easy.
Well, yeah, I agree with you. It's an absolute belter of a 24-hour race to do. I mean, I've not done the 24-hour Le Mans on Nürburgring yet, but Thrust Vector are hoping to do that this season, so keep an eye out. I'm sure we'll be doing that as well then, as Roberts and Lundgren are going to lead the field away. Roberts for the second time tonight on pole position. And he's going now. And someone that was really onto that was Mikey Key, actually. I think he went a little bit early, then backed off a bit and then got going again. But look at Van Broek. That's the difference that communicating with your teammates makes. And those two boosted cars at the front will be telling David just when they're going. David a bit earlier on the brakes, but then lets off the brakes, then back onto him. Down the inside, and it's a boosted 1, 2, 3. Before you know it, Scott Malcolm, McDonald, and Ayres there. 3 wide, as we can see Andy Hunter there. Oh, that's Sean Gardner in the wall in the boosted car. I think someone might have gone around there with him as well. But 3 boosted cars at the front then. They're going to be absolutely loving this at the moment as Mikey Key tries to chase him down in 4th. He's going to be waiting for his result clothing teammates to regroup and get in the battle with them. Oh, in the background, I believe that was McCarran around. There's a bit of contact there. Jordan Giddings, I think, has gone off as well. Not quite sure. There's Jordan just coming into shot there. I think Jordan might have been involved with Sean Gardner in the first corner, but these are the guys that are loving it. John Roberts at the moment with, Broek in second. Mikey Key in third. Just coming onto the banking for the first time, and they're quite evenly spaced out so far, actually, Marco. It's not been any sort of real breakaways yet.
Yes, they are, maybe they know that the race is a little bit longer. Like I said, maybe they have learned their lesson from the first 2 races. Going to be careful in these first few laps and see what they can do. And of course, the boosted guys are having, a nice advantage. 3 boosted guys, 3 result clothing guys behind them. So this is going to be a very interesting race. If they don't crash out and we get like this almost, road cycling style tactical game towards, the final lap, and of course in the final few corners. It's going to be super interesting, as they are keeping, their distance all together. No overtaking attempt by the top 3 guys, and I think also by the result clothing guys. Yes, they are staying very close to each other, and as soon as I say that, they spread out and go 3 wide. Oh yeah!
Yep.
Oh no!
Contact between Jones and Key. I don't know how he kept that on the road there. Mikey Key could have been spat off to the inside there, but somehow he just managed to keep it on the road. And he'll be thanking his lucky stars for that, as it gets a bit feisty near the front there. Down the inside, that was Carl Jacquelette on Scott Malcolm. But it's just a nice little train of 5 cars. Going to be soon 6 at the front. Well, it was 6, and now it's 5. Mikey Key being taken out of that, but it's 3 on 3. Boosted and result clothing. John Roberts leading the way once again. Van Broek is the first one to come under pressure from Craig Jones. Jones with the yellow wheels, Mick Barry with the pink, Mikey Key with the black. That's all a bit squirrely from Lundgren, and Van Broek under brakes there, and that's going to put Jones down the inside. Number 13, unlucky for some, hopefully it won't be unlucky for the boosted cars. But they're just going to be trying their best to just defend, and I think we've heard the phrase rear tail gunner in a lot of motorsport, especially when you're talking about the likes of Valtteri Bottas, but I think that's going to be Van Broek's role right now here. Marco, what do you reckon?
Oh yes, even though, it's very tough to not get overtaken in this kind of racing. Well, I mean, the result clothing guys, either they were not on the radio and they maybe made a mistake in communication, or they have no team orders between them. They are working, which I wouldn't agree with that. You have to work with your teammates. That was a very odd situation, and it almost ended in tears. They were very good in saving their cars. Now they are, and there's a problem there for Van Broek, and he gets overtaken by Jones and by Barry, and I think he's got a slowdown.
Yeah, he went flying off there. I think he just tried to carry too much speed in there, and he's going to have to do a bit of a slower pass around that part of the track just to give back the time. It's a real shame that, because that's properly taking him out of that battle now. And he's not going to want to come down in front of those boys. But these two boosted cars at the front then are going to try and get away with it as Jones, Barry and Key chase them down then. Carl Jacquelette's going to want to get on this as well, so Scott Malcolm. And then behind that, you've got David Ayres, who in another Result Clothing car, he's going to want to try and capitalise as well. Lundgren does the fastest lap of the race as he takes the lead at 209.8, 209.3 by Jacquelette, half a second quicker. And as you can imagine, the further back you go down the field, where there's a bit more clear air, maybe even a bit of dirty air from the slipstream, you might get quicker and quicker laps. But these two boosted cars fighting at the front, Marco, might not be the best way to go about it. When you're doing this, you've just got to be really careful that you don't disturb the momentum of things parked off at the side of the road there.
Yes, they absolutely need to work together, and as soon as I say that, they go for a move, and Lundgren goes in front at the kink, and look behind them because Jones and Barry also, you know, for a second they were side by side, but now they are once again in single file. Looks like Malcolm is still in the party. David Ayres trying to close the gap, and also Carl Hardy will try and, you know, maybe bring Joe McDonald with him. This could be a very, very big field that will fight for the win. Of course, Van Broek is far back now due to his penalty. Look where he is. So
I reckon with a good bit of slipstreaming though, we might be able to get back in the fight. It is obviously a longer race. We're only a quarter of the way through. It's nearly 3 wide in the background there. Roberts now coming under attack from the Result Clothing cars. Craig Jones leading the attack with Mick Barry in fourth. Mick having to get on the brakes there. He's got so much of an overspeed. Doesn't want to hit his teammate. Jones turns in a little bit early there. Oh, Barry gets in out of shape and he's off on the grass. Going to stay off the throttle, make sure the car doesn't spin around on him. I don't know whether he'll get a slowdown for that because he's already going a bit slower. Not quite sure how iRacing's algorithm figures it out, but yeah, he definitely he's another one where you definitely know who you're on board with at the time. Bright purple tub on that car. And he gets overtaken there by his teammate and McDonald as well. There's a race lead then. Lundgren. He's just going to let Roberts soar past him. Just don't disturb each other. That's the main thing. I mean, you may think that Roberts will brake a bit earlier, sorry, on the outside. And just sort of let Lundgren get on with it. At the end of the day, that'll be the better move. But, oh, Lundgren's on the brakes actually now. And right behind him, you can see Craig Jones is not letting off here. Jacquelette's a bit wide. Mikey Key into fourth. I think Jacquelette got the move done on the straight, but now Mikey Key's back up there. Scott Malcolm, as he said, Marco, still in there as well, and he's going to be sort of rubbing his hands together, hoping these boys have an incident here. And oh, there he goes. Mikey Key, around he goes. Jacquelette slams on to avoid it. Well, I say avoid it, he caused it, but yeah, real shame for Mikey Key there. Second time, oh, something's broken on that car. You can see he was turning right and it was going left. And speaking of going left, so's Lundgren, and on his right is Jones. Comes over in the braking zone there. That was a bit risky, but he manages to defend the place. Jones was happy to just submit and go to the outside. But this is handing it all to Roberts now. Roberts, once again, able to get away while they're scrapping behind him. The slipstream's going to level the playing field, but Jones now just needs a really good run, although he's off into unknown territory there. But he's coming from further back now, Marco, so it's probably going to work in his favour, actually, isn't it?
yes, it does work like this. When you see races on super speedways in NASCAR, you see that the leader never wants to get at the restarts big gaps on second place, because if that happens, he gets freight trained on the backstretch as soon as the slipstream gets into effect. So the bigger the gap, the bigger the overspeed that is going to, I mean, these cars are a little bit less powerful than NASCAR race cars, but still it's going to have a big effect on racing. So as you can see, the gap is already coming down. Was 0.7 coming out of the infield section, and now is down to 0.4 and moving quickly down to an even distance between the two leaders. With Jones coming, he's there. So yeah,
it's really flying down. I like your analysis of that. Just a little bit less powerful than NASCAR. These things don't quite have the straight line performance of the monster cup cars at the moment. It's pretty much dead heat over the line between Lundgren and Roberts there. Actually, it went down to the thousandths. I know that much. Lundgren inherits the lead then round the outside. Now it's John's turn to play as the rear gunner. Craig Jones is a personal best. A bit further back, there's Ayres down the inside of McDonald. Steve Hefford making his way through as well. Mick Barry's in there with the pink wheels, and then Carl Hardy with the green wheels in the Result Clothing cars. And the pro cars now that started 20 seconds back are now making their way through. And of course, all these guys can use this as practice as well for the main event tomorrow, which is the full-on BSR MX5 Cup. As 3 wide, there's Carl Hardy, McDonald and Barry. I'm going to hold my breath. They're going through the kink, and they've somehow made it. That could have gotten really sketchy there. Down the inside, still Hardy. McDonald down the inside of Barry, just avoids making contact with him. Almost singing through all this going on. But they've both got past him though, and yeah, I think the outnumbering technique actually really worked there, Marco.
Yes. Very nice battle there. Very respectful battle in the infield section. Guys keeping the distance, giving space, giving room. And let's go back to the front, because once again the 2 boosted cars are very close and Craig Jones waiting a bit. I think he's playing the right game so far, because we still have 10 minutes left in this 3rd and final race of the evening.
Yeah, we're just over halfway now, so it's actually flown by that first half, but to be fair, there's plenty of it left to come. Jacqueline, he's starting to close in on this battle. Oh, Jones is a little bit wide through the second part of that bus stop there, and it's going to have hurt his run on the exit. You've got to think that Jacqueline might even get past him here for 3rd place as they come onto the banking. There's your race leader, Rob Lundgren. Doing a fine job so far, kept that Mazda nice and clean. There's quite a big gap back actually, half a second now, but here comes Roberts. You can just see the gap slow, well, I'll say slowly coming down. It's not slowly coming down, it's flying down now. Look at that. He's got a right good overspeed. These Mazdas do punch quite a big hole in the air for such a little car. That's just, well, it's actually quite a frightening sight really, isn't it? Really flying up behind him. And I think they're just going to do the same again. Car on the outside brakes later, takes the lead, and off they go. Let's have a look. Oh, it doesn't seem like it that much. Oh, I don't know whether that was a miscommunication or something, or just because they were a bit out of place compared to before. But Jones and Jacqueline are not dropping off this battle. But you've got to think there, Marco, if they do battle a little bit too much in trying to chase these guys, then they might upset their own rhythm and sort of ruin their own race in terms of trying to get the win.
Yes, that is, and you know, that is right. And also, you see, there's, you know, we are rightfully so instructed by BSR to focus on the amateurs for this race, but we cannot say that, you know, Steve Efford is here and is in the race for the race win. He's in the hunt for a race win. He started all the way back with the pro guys, and now I think you can consider him one of the favorites to win this race, because he has the speed. Of course, like you said before, the slipstream will level the playing field, but he is absolutely one guy that we have to consider for the race victory.
Oh yeah, definitely. Steve's absolutely rapid in this car. He's had a lot of bad luck with incidents recently, and he's been at the top of the overall standings for the whole year in the BSR MX5 Cup. And well, Jones there actually diving out really quickly. That's going to harm his momentum though, surely. He's not going to be able to hold that much speed, but still getting the job done though. He passes Lundgren as well, and is he going to go for the lead here? Who's going to be the last of the late breakers, and who's going to get this bus stop right? Or are they both going to go off? Let's have a look. Lundgren uses all the curb. Jones uses all the curb on the inside. Oh, he loses momentum, gets a bit of a slide, and Roberts is going to get a great run on the exit. 3 wide then. Just about tiny bit of an overlap to Lundgren. Oh, he's coming up. Bit of contact. I don't think he's quite got the overlap. I don't want to see Lundgren get turned here, or Roberts.
Yeah, they have to be super careful there, Charles. Look at that. And also here comes Efford.
Oh, that's got to be suicidal going that far down. It's 3 wide as well. Jacquelette's up on the outside. Close your eyes. Keep your foot planted to the floor. Efford's going to make it 4 wide. Is he? No, is he? Yes. He's going down the inside. I don't know whether he's going to pull out of that move. Kissing wing mirrors with Lundgren. This is unbelievable stuff. I'm on the edge of my seat. He's down the inside. There's a bit of contact. And again, Jones still on the outside. Lundgren just prevails somehow from that. Roberts turns in. Jacquelette makes contact with him. Roberts through the middle of Jones and Jacquelette, but Steve Efford on the brakes has actually got through into the lead. And I'm not sure how well that's going to go down because of the double yellow lines, which is what I was thinking, but we'll have to see. Roberts nearly collects his teammate Lundgren there, but well, one foul swoop. Steve Efford takes the lead, and there you go, Marco. He said he was one of the favourites, but he's got it done already. I didn't expect it to happen that quick.
I mean, that was a great move, and, you know, kudos, props to these drivers, because that could have very, very easily ended up with a massive 5-car pile-up, wiping out the 5 leaders. They all made it through, and it was a fantastic move. All the drivers running so close, and still they managed to get through there unscathed. So, very nice stuff. And now, of course, effort will be in the opposite position, because now all these guys behind him will have a massive overspeed. So he really needs to get a good gap in the infield. That is where he can make the difference. But as you can see right now, he's got 0.7 of a second over Landgren. So that is a good gap. Maybe not enough. So we'll have to see. These guys behind him, of course, they absolutely have to avoid any kind of fighting between them in the infield, because there is where Steve can make the difference.
Yeah, definitely. He's got to use his talent to his, and it's just his raw pace to his advantage in that infield, and just get the car around as quickly as he can. But yeah, they just need to make sure that they don't fight too much. I mean, obviously all of them are going to want to go for the win, but Lundgren, there you go. You can see Hefford's sort of conceding at the moment, so it's good of him to not want to get in the way, really. But I'm sure that he's just after a good scrap as well, because like I was saying before, these guys will be using this as like a practice almost. They used to do Monday night practice anyway. You can see, yeah, Steve getting out of the way there. He knows that it's for these boys to get through. As he goes down the straight then, he's now 4th, but the fight for the lead is on. Roberts and Lundgren side by side. Jones stuck right behind them as well. Apologies, I appear to have lost my live timing. Actually, it's just killed itself. Hang on, sorry. 1 second, having a bit of a technical issue. We're back on, actually. There we go. We're back in. Sorry about that.
Look at Scott Malcolm, very quietly, keeping out of trouble. P4 right now. With a nice shot at a race win, actually, if he can. You know, he's not that far away from Jones, so he will have the slipstream to get closer to the top 3, especially since they are fighting with each other.
Yeah, the more they scrap, the more they're just going to sort of get reeled in by Scott. And just another note on Hefford as well, actually. I know we're not focusing on too much, but he has dropped back, of course, there, just to battle with the other pro drivers. Kip Stevens is in there as well. But, yeah, it's all on Lundgren now, really. He's just got to make sure he doesn't let anyone take advantage of him being ahead that much. But, I mean, I suppose, really, on an oval like this, there's not much you can do. You just got to keep your foot planted. That's all you can do. But Van Broek, as we look now, has actually made his way back through. He was further down before in 12th place, and as we said, he's used the slipstream to his advantage, and now he's going to be chasing after his boosted teammates to see whether he can help them out for the race win. Roberts is closing in on Lundgren, but surely he's just going to hang back a bit and just let him through the bus stop. Craig Jones won't be hanging back, and neither will Scott Malcolm. Like you say, Marco, there is chance of a win here for Scott, so he's got to give it everything.
Yes, now we'll have to see when they come on the start-finish line if they will have to do 1 or 2 laps more after this one. And we also have to see when and if Craig Jones will run out of patience, because he's been very patient so far, and go for maybe a big move, because I think he's getting frustrated by the fact that Roberts is being so tough to pass. Here he goes on the outside, but it's very tricky to get the move there. So we'll see what happens in the first corner.
Well, Lundgren's got to come down here, actually. He stopped Roberts getting down the insides. This is going to be last of the late breakers. You can see Kip Stevens creeping up on the outside as well. Van Broek is using him to his advantage to get the slipstream. Jones hangs it round the outside, turns in a little bit, nearly contact with Roberts. They give each other just enough room. Malcolm down the inside of Stevens there. I think Stevens just got out of it just to let him through. But Malcolm once again is in a position to just rub his hands together and say, come on, boys. Oh, is he a bit late on the brakes? He pushes Jones. Oh, it's just really too late on the brakes. That was like an instant commentator's curse, that. Roberts did a really good job of avoiding that, to be fair to him as well. Got straight out of the way, and Van Broek's been brought into the picture now. We're going to get one more lap after this one. 2 minutes to go as of now, pretty much. And, yeah, we should have another lap after this, so see how it goes. Roberts down the inside of Malcolm. That's a bit of respite for that. Malcolm hits Jones again, and then Roberts hits him, and Van Broek goes into him. Carl Jacquelet catches Van Broek. And that was just a big domino effect, Marco. Real shame that. I don't think Roberts helped the issue there. I think he went down the inside a bit too aggressively. I don't know whether that was a bit of revenge on what he thought might have been a dive before by Malcolm. Let's have a look. You can see he's right up behind him. It's an opportunistic move down the inside, to be fair, but it starts off, I think, well, to be fair, it's a bit of two things in one there. Malcolm was just way too late on the brakes. Don't know whether he was focusing on Roberts behind him and just missed his braking point, and then Jones turned in, and to be fair, I mean, I think he turned across the front of Roberts a little bit. It was a bit sort of, it was like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, wasn't it, really? They everyone sort of contributed to that in their own way. As Roberts really sliding it through the bus stop there, that's going to kill his momentum on the exit. Jackalette now the only real challenger for them as it stands. Obviously we've got Kip Stevens in third, that's going to provide a bit of slipstream for him, but that's about it now. Rob Lundgren's got 1.2 seconds on his teammate. And McDonald is up into 5th place. He started 6th. Sorry, he didn't start 6th at all. He's gained 6 places. He started 11th. So he's obviously taken advantage of those incidents. Real shame for it to end that way as well, because we're having a really good scrap at that point. As we see Roberts and Stevens then side by side across the line. Stevens, of course, in the pro category. In the Swift Cooper Esports car. Really striking livery on that machine. With the pink highlights on there. But it's just between these two boosted boys now at the front, really. Rob Lundgren and John Roberts just going to control it. You've got to think as well that Roberts will just, even if he does start catching him up, he will he'll let Lundgren take the win on this one. He'll just allow his teammate to have that one. He got the win in race 2, of course, but he's really having to defend from Stevens here, and he's doing a very strong job of it as it stands. We'll have to see what Stevens does on the brakes, but there's a nice little battle developing between Jackalette and McDonald that we just caught a little glimpse of there as well behind these guys. There they are. Bit of damage on the front of that car for Jackalette as he, of course, hit Van Broek in that incident when Van Broek was stationary. And there's your race leader, and 2nd place. Roberts is just going to be clinging on for dear life with Kip Stevens behind him. Goes defensive as they come onto the oval. Stevens on the brakes early. That's surely going to hurt John's line. As around the outside, McDonald there takes Jackalette. Not sure whether Jackalette's having issues with the car. We look back now from the race leader for the final time round the bank. And then Roberts is going to close up, but this is going to be the point where we'll see whether he lets him have the win. There's Stevens just poking his nose out a little bit, saying, "Off you go, go on." And he's actually probably going to keep his teammate from getting the slipstream there, actually. Stevens is going to go through. Oh, Roberts comes across. Oh, there's no need. Absolutely no need. That's a shame, that. Real shame. That didn't have to happen at all. And there's, well, there's the result of that one for John Roberts. There was no, to be fair, there was no need for either of that. I don't think there was any need for Roberts to come across that aggressively in a straight line. And then obviously Stevens, it looked like he turned back. I don't know whether that left turn was to obviously correct the car from going right, but yeah, that was just, I don't think that was on. But something that is on is Rob Lundgren, and he's going to be on the top step of the podium. He's going to be very happy with that. Keeps the car nice and clean, 0 incident points all race. And Rob Lundgren wins your final race of the evening. Fantastic result for Boosted Motorsport there. 2nd is Hefford, and 3rd just is McDonald over Jackalette. That was very close across the line there. Only 0.02 of a second in it. Jackalette's going to finish 4th then. Gardner here coming across the line in 5th, and he went off at turn 1, so I'm sure he's going to be happy with that result. Bit of a turnaround for him in that one. Jones is going to come across the line 6th. Giddings has already finished a lap down in 7th. There he is in the number 23 machine. There's Nick McCarron across the line in 8th place, a lap down.
Yeah, a lot of retirements in this race. In the end, I think we've had only around 8 cars that finished the race.
And 6 of them were on the lead lap. But there's your race winner then. Fantastic shot of the burnouts there. Rob Lundgren. Really well-deserved race as well, actually. Once again, just neat and tidy all the way through. Just defended at the right times. He worked really well with his teammate all the way through the race. And he's going to be very, very happy, as you can clearly see by the donuts he's doing, to be on the top step of the podium. Really good shot, that actually. It looks fantastic. And it's a very pretty livery as well on that car. You can see him soaring away at the wheel, giving it everything. But that was, yeah, really, really exciting night of racing, to be fair, Marco. And to be fair, it sets us up even better for the rest of the week, as you were mentioning before. We've got the full BSR MX5 Cup tomorrow, and then the BSR TC on Thursday.
Yeah, and both titles, if I'm not mistaken, still to be decided. So we are going to, there are going to be the championship deciding races both tomorrow and on Thursday, and also on Wednesday we assign the title, the 3 titles for the winners of the iRacing Le Mans Series, because it's going to be the final strength of field race of the season there as well. Saturday we crowned a new Euro V8 champion, and of course tonight there is going to be the Ricmotec Series a little bit later. So I mean, I can say, well, Ricmotec is still in mid-season, but apart from that, I think we can say this is the championship week for on Apex Racing TV, and we are going to get top quality racing almost every night, basically all week long.
And we hope that you obviously join us along for it. We certainly did enjoy covering this one. It's always a mixed bag, and it always throws up a nice few surprises. As we have the race results now then, Rob Lundgren takes the win, 4 seconds back to Joe McDonald, and only a few hundredths back to Carl Jacquelet from him as well. Turns out Kip Stevens was actually a lap down in that battle, so he didn't take that overall. Craig Jones is 4th, Steve Hefford 5th, and then you've got, like I say, Kip Stevens, sorry, I missed someone out. Sean Gardner finishes 4th, Craig Jones 5th, Steve Hefford 6th, Kip Cooper is 7th, John Roberts 8th, Van Broek is 9th, and Jordan Giddings rounds out your top 10. Then it's McCarron, Malcolm after that incident, Mick Carl Hardy, David Ayres, Mikey Key. That's 4 result clothing cars in a row out of the race. Then we've got Andy Hunter, Max Wright, Ricky Springer, and Jordan McClone. But yeah, really good way to end out the night, really. Shame about that incident at the end, though, to be fair. I mean, that, like I said, that didn't have to happen. It just there was just no need for it. But at the end of the day, they've got the big full MX5 Cup to race for tomorrow, and I'm sure that they're going to be just as excited about it as we are. Just see if we've got anyone about for any interviews. Doesn't look like we've actually got anybody, Marco. I think we're just going to be sat here all alone for the rest of the night, it seems.
Yeah, apologies to Sean Gardner. I don't know why his name wasn't showing up in the final results. We'll have to maybe the overlay doesn't like him. We'll have to check. Sometimes weird things can happen with technology. But apart from that, I mean, like I said, we had great fun as per usual. Tomorrow we are going to have 4 races instead of 3, and of course, like I said, championships on the amateur and pro series to give out, and the teams, of course, and the same will be on Thursday at Daytona. So if you like the racing we had tonight, and this works a bit like oval racing, even though we are doing the road course, but I mean with all the slipstream and on the infield section, you can make the difference. But especially in the MX5, since this car, like you said, punches such a big hole in the air. And actually, I wasn't talking, but I read a forum post by Glenn McGee, the winner of the MX5 iRacing Challenge. He said that driving the car in real life, he was surprised by how much he thought, like many people, that slipstream effect was too much in iRacing in the MX5. But when he drove the car in real life, he said that it's very, very accurate, and he was so surprised about this car does punch a big hole in the air. So I mean, it's going to be a great season finale tomorrow at Daytona, like I said. And just before we go, of course, the final race of the Le Mans series will be at the Nürburgring GP track on Wednesday. So pretty nice selection of historic racetracks this week on Apex Racing TV. And I think it's going to be... And we have Monza in the Racing Grand Prix Championship on Sunday. So, and of course, we also decide the title for the Porsche Immortal Cup on Sunday night from Road America. So, I mean, lots of championship to be decided. You don't want to miss it.
You certainly don't. It's going to be a really, really sort of strong week in terms of the whole sort of iRacing community as well. And of course, on Apex, we're going to be covering it all for you. So do not miss it. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you again, Marco. Really good night of racing. And from me and Marco, of course, we thank you for watching as well tonight. So until next time, we will catch you hopefully tomorrow night for the BSR MX5 Cup from Daytona. Have a good night.